Alright, good morning, Astronomy. I am going to finish up the notes that I started with you the other day on the video. This is going to be a continuation of that. I might have already given you this first slide. I can't remember if we did it or not, honestly. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with this one just so if you have it, you know where we are beginning. So look in your notes and find that spot. Or if you don't have it, it's a refresher for you to catch it. All right. So we have nebula. These are clouds of hydrogen and helium gas spread over the vast regions of space. This is the result of a supernova explosion, and because they are the result of a supernova explosion, they are sometimes known as supernova remnants. Actually, now that I start talking through this, I feel like I remember teaching this already. But we've already started, so we're going to keep going. All right, nebula will remain dark unless they are blocking something brighter or are close to stars. If stars are nearby, they will heat up the nebula and cause it to glow. So these gases don't glow on their own. They have to be backlit by something or be near a light source in order to be heated in order to glow. All right, types of nebula. You have diffuse nebula. These are large and lack a distinct boundary, and then there are types of diffuse nebula under that. All right, so the first is emission nebula. These produce their own light because they are heated by nearby stars. Now again, they're not technically producing their own light, but because they are so close to stars, they stay lit. All right. Reflection nebula, they do not produce light but reflect light from nearby stars. And there's a difference between being heated by a star and producing light or reflecting light off of a star, okay? So emission nebula, they're heated by stars and give off light. Reflection nebula, what happens is they act like a mirror for the light coming off of the stars that are close to them. And then dark nebula, these can only be seen when silhouetted against a bright background. I feel like I said that word funny just a second ago, so I'm going to repeat it for you, background. You also have planetary nebula. These are produced from the ejected gases of a star. So if the star were to just give off the gases naturally, okay, these are typically smaller than diffuse nebula because they haven't been scattered as far. Okay, so they're smaller because they haven't been scattered out. They are usually spherical in shape or bipolar, meaning they have a two-lobed structure. It doesn't mean that they are in one mind and in another mind, but that they have a two-lobed structure. They look like two lobes coming together. All right. They consist of a cloud of dust and gas surrounding a slowly cooling white dwarf star. And then a type of planetary nebula that you can find is a protoplanetary nebula, which is the beginning of a planetary nebula when the star starts to shed its outer layers. So it actually isn't a full-blown nebula yet at this point in time. It's the beginning of that nebula stage. It's basically a baby nebula. And just to round out the section of notes, some famous nebula or nebulae. Again, we talked about yesterday how sometimes people pronounce it differently if it has that E tacked on the end. So first of all, you have the Dumbbell Nebula. This is the first recorded planetary nebula. You can look up pictures of all of these. I would encourage you to do so. They're actually very beautiful. And then you have the Orion Nebula, which is part of the interstellar cloud known as the Orion Molecular Cloud Complex. A cluster of stars, the trapezium, gives the Orion Nebula its brightness. Then you have the Horsehead Nebula, which is a dark nebula lit from behind by radiation. It's one of the few nebula that are lit by radiation. And then you have the Eagle Nebula, or the Pillars of Creation. Typically, the Eagle Nebula will be referred to as the Pillars of Creation. You won't really see it by the name Eagle Nebula. But it contains thousands of stars that will eventually eat away the nebula. They'll take in the expelled gas from the nebula and use them to feed themselves. All right, so it's a very short video for you. We didn't have a lot of notes to finish up, but I had a colleague come in and I had to stop the video yesterday. So I wanted to make sure that we got this video up for you, that way you could get the rest of the notes for this section of Astronomy Chapter 12. I will post another note video for you, continuing on with the notes later on in the week. Make sure that you are keeping up with your class notes. Guys, please don't send your class notes in to me, okay? At this point, I'm working off the assumption that we are going to come back to school and that I'm going to be able to see the notes when you come back to school, okay? So please don't send them in unless I tell you to send them in. Keep them for now. Also, you have 2 homework sheets that you need to be working on. One is for Roman numerals 1 and 2 of this chapter, and the second one is for Roman numeral 3 of this chapter. You need to have both of those sent back in to me in your work folders on Monday, all right? I hope you guys have a good day. I'm praying for you, and I miss you.